Hey, hi. Hi, Nikhil.
Hey, good afternoon.
Afternoon.
And good afternoon to all our viewers.
Mhm.
I think there's a bit of a light issue here. Let me see if we can correct that. Okay. All right. So, yeah, is the video functional for you?
Just a second. Yeah, hello. I hope it is
Yes,
fine, right? Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is. It is fine. Yes.
Mhm.
All right. Okay. How are you doing today, Srikanth?
Yeah, I'm good. Good. Thank you. Thanks for inviting. Yep.
Okay. Yes. As part of having these interactions with our alumni, we
Mm-hmm.
are hopeful the current generation or crop of youngsters and those who are looking at analytics as an option in
Right.
data science, generally speaking, they find some inspiration, some encouragement, right? So it would be nice to have an introduction first up, Srikanth, if you could talk about,
Mm-hmm.
brief us about your journey.
Right. Okay. So, yeah, my journey was into, I would say I have touched almost a good amount of almost all the wings of software engineering. Coming into language specific or any sort of development. I've been a part of web designing, web engineering. I have worked on Java as a Java developer, core Java developer as well for some part of a time. I've been into the database. So, this whole journey. Right now, if I look at my 18 years of experience, as of now, I am working as an architect. Providing solutions to almost, one of the, I wouldn't say Fortune 500 companies. So these are the companies with whom I'm working on a regular basis and providing them solutions on how do they manage their data warehouses. Okay, but data is data has been the most powerful thing that I have seen, throughout my experience, and that's where I felt that okay, let's. That's where my interest lies. So, I would say, I myself, been very practical in choosing my career path, right? As I've said, right, okay, started from the web, then into the programming, and then into the data. Though that's where I found okay, this is somewhere where I can really do something meaningful or because there's a lot of scope over here. It's just not something like more job opportunities, but one should feel that zeal and interest, right? To look into the data. Data journalism is also one of the interesting things that I did, or data evangelism, right? It's
Okay.
like finding what are the anomalies in data. Who is the there are certain situations like in my experience where I have experienced okay, finding the thief out of the data, right? You
Right.
need to do some journalism. So yeah, the journey has been really wide, really spectacular so far, and there's a lot more to do. Okay, so that's where I'm heading towards. Yeah.
Okay. Wonderful. All right. This was a transition you made, you said roughly 10 years ago in terms of moving into
Right.
the data side of things.
Moving to the data side. Yeah.
Okay, okay, all right. And there was a program you attended, a coursework of, okay, all right.
Right.
So it, because usually it happens that as an evolving field, people are learning continuously.
Right.
How did you address that aspect of it when you had to upgrade?
So, see, yeah, there was a lot of things that were happening on this, what you call on the data side, right? That's where I wanted to understand, uh, let's say data science. There were many anomalies, any words, there is something called a data science, machine learning, right? And what is all this data warehousing? Okay, there are many things that were being evolving. So that's where I thought okay, let me uh, find it out. Okay, what exactly are all these things? So that's where I came in touch with the DataMites, and the course was interesting. The journey was the DataMites was all interesting. It was more of a practical session, where in which we can understand. Uh, I wouldn't say there's much of a teaching, but it's okay. 25% of the teaching, and the rest 75% was like do it on your own. I mean, practically, like how would you come up with solutions and everything, right? So that was the interesting part that I understood with DataMites. And I mean, I took the course on this machine learning, right, and as well as analytics. Like, I mean, so that's where like the journey on like the data, like, okay, what comes first? That was
Right.
my thought process. Is it like, okay, when you see this data whole thing, the cycle of data, you need to like first imbibe the data, extract the data, put it in somewhere. So okay, so this is all what is called as data engineering, and then clean up the data, make it ready, make it beautify it, so that it can be used by this machine learning or data scientists. So in further processing, right?
Right.
At the same time, it can be parallelly used for analytics and everything. So these are all the journey that I learned from with DataMites, and that is how I paved my way into this field. Yeah.
Okay, okay, wonderful. So it is somewhere the architecture side of things is where you where you came to now, or you were always more keen on the planning that whole side of it.
Architecture side of the things, I would say my journey started with like, okay, then I decided, okay, let me start with data engineering first, right? And then like, I mean, within data engineering, I found the data warehousing concept to be much more interesting, which comes in aligned with like my field of investigation or understanding much more. So
Okay,
that's where I mean I came in touch with Snowflake. Okay,
all right.
found to be like very much interesting in the sense like it has a very good support. It's new in the market, just not because sake of new in the market. They have totally re-evolutionized the whole science of Snowflake, right? I mean, where in which they have constructed everything or developed everything from the scratch. So that's
Right,
what has made me interesting. So this is something that's for the future. Like, I mean, for the coming at least 2 decades, there will be something substantially evolving kind of a structure that they have can come up with, right? Where they have totally re-engineered the whole data engineering as well as the data analytics, and everything has been re-engineered over here. So using Snowflake, so you can build your data models, right? I mean, so there's a lot more happening, and the most interesting part is Snowflake gives their feature releases once in a week, right? I mean,
okay,
so
okay,
this is the kind of fastness they go about. I mean, go in the future, right? I mean, so
right.
when I started with Snowflake, there was not much over there. Like, I mean, 4 years back, I started with Snowflake. It was all like a data warehouse kind of stuff. Now it has evolved into a place where you can do not just, I mean, data storage, but I mean, you can do a lot more than that. I mean, there is, what you can say is like a good amount of data modeling is there. Okay, they have imbibed the concept of Gen AI as well into this uh, Snowflake itself.
Itself.
So let's say like, I mean, right? I mean, so when it's called about uh, data models, I mean, so they have something called a Snowpark, which the reason for calling it Snowpark is they have captured a good amount of all these data models, and they
Okay,
have kept it inside the Snowflake engine itself. So all you need to do is like get your data and then run it through your data model, whichever data model you want to choose. Pick up the data model and run it through that. Okay, so
right.
that's where like I've been the I mean the field has evolved to such a great extent, and it's really interesting to work on all these areas. Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay. Okay. So this is some place where, with the kind of automation that you have, the job responsibilities are changing, and somewhere you require new hands and fresh minds on it.
Right.
So in terms of when you talk about youngsters getting hired or people with some experience, what do you see as the market, as an evolving market? How do you see things?
I would seriously suggest youngsters to be very good efficient, very well efficient in Python, okay, and SQL. So these are the two languages. I mean, see, one thing I would like to suggest, or one where I personally feel that the youngsters should concentrate is like programming is still there. Okay, I mean, so people come up with the emotion or knowledge that okay, we have to like come up with how do we use this model. Okay, building a model, I wouldn't say it's easy. takes a lot of effort in understanding the data first. Understand the data first. In
Right.
order to understand the data first, one needs to get into it, make their hands dirty. So that's where SQL is the way to do that. At the same time, you can even do it with Python as well, right? I mean, Python has also good amount of language or libraries where you can understand the data first. Okay, so in order to understand, these are the two basic things that one has to sincerely study and learn and practice. That is what will make them uh, as a good developers. I mean, I wouldn't say like developers. I mean, see, we have to use the ZenAI concepts to get the code. I do agree for that, but is the code really good for you or not? I mean, one has to one has to understand the SQL as well as Python. So these are the two things that I would really suggest all the youngsters to even keep practicing, and that's what even I keep doing it on a regular basis. So it's not like 1 month you study and you are there, but yes, coding wise, SQL and Python are the two things that one has to practice. And
Okay.
right,
Okay.
these are the two things that I
Great.
can suggest.
That's
Yeah.
yeah, that's really really useful. I think it's something that we often yeah, tend to touch upon, but it's good coming from one of an industry expert.
Right.
The platform is open. I like to request the team as well if there are any questions coming through from LinkedIn or YouTube. Um, Kindly send them through. Um, Srikanth has a lot of insights, as you can see. So, um, right. So, in a sense, it's been you've been with Snowflake for the whole of 10 years, or that's
No, not at all. I mean, I would say it's like yeah, 4 years strictly I was into Snowflake.
okay.
And the way I started my journey, like, okay, so in order to understand any subject, uh, I started my journey where in which I got an opportunity to work on Snowflake. At the same time, I felt the need to like, I mean, okay, let me clear up one certification. So I went
Right.
on, I cleared the developer level certification, and it has really helped me a lot. Like, I mean, where in which it made me understand like at the core level how Snowflake really works through
Mhm.
all the I mean the breadth of Snowflake. I mean what all it can do is what you'll understand with that. And then recently I cleared my architect level certification as well. It's called advanced architect level certification, which has really given me an understanding on how do you like fit Snowflake in any or make it as a solution that can be really viable for any of these enterprise level organizations, right?
Right.
So yeah, I mean,
And you customize these solutions without going too much into details, and only to the extent that you are free to reveal. We just like to understand, when you are getting a particular project, how does that journey, how is it taken forth?
okay, so right, the way I would look into it is like, see, as of now, all these customers they are pretty much open to, uh, or I would say they don't want to stick to one particular technology, wherein which they want to put their entire data into one single system and then get into trouble or anything. So I mean the way I approach them is like to understand the business objective. Okay, what is the or basically when we get in touch with any customer, it would be like as a consultant we have to understand what are the pain points that they're facing in the current ecosystem. So understand the ecosystem first, okay, and then the business objectives of what they want to achieve, right? Coming down like I mean another, let's say for another 5 to 10 years, whether the solution will be really viable for them. So that is the intention with which we have to work and deliver a solution.
Right.
So yeah, I mean in order to do that, yes, problem understanding, the problem statement has to be first finalized, evolve that, and then which technology fits in. So I wouldn't advocate only Snowflake, right? I mean, there is a competitor, Databricks is also there. Okay, whether Databricks is really a good solution for them, or whether Snowflake. So, what is it that they want to do? Do they want to only store data, or they do want to do only analytics, or they do want to even do some core data engineering concepts, or do they have their own solutions, or do they have their own customized data models? Can they even imbibe into the existing ecosystem,
Okay.
or do they want to share the data with the general public? So these are all the things that we have to understand, right?
Right.
It could be general public, or what is the safety security measures that they want to uh, put on the database. So so then coming into all those things, which solution fits in there, and what is their budget, right?
Right.
So these are all the things that one has to think and then come up with a probable solution. Okay, so
Right.
many things keep going up and down, and then finally if the solution is fixed, then we have to like come up with some use cases on how can they their idea or their problem can be met in here, right? So yeah, I mean,
Yeah. All
so
right.
the
Interesting.
journey keeps on continue. It will be like a couple of months we have to juggle and then come up with a proper solution, make them understand that this is the right solution that can be worked on, and we have to work with their architects as well, right? I mean, so being into
Right.
this industry, make them
Yeah.
as well satisfied, make their governance team as well comply with, okay, this is how your data is safe in here,
That's
right?
one big part of it, right?
That's the biggest part of it, okay.
Yes. All right.
Right.
Yeah, you're getting people on board.
Okay.
Okay. All right. We have one question. How can we upskill and stay updated to the current trend? Which all social media pages we can use for that? I think it's more from a networking point of view. If you would like to.
Hmm. Getting updated to the current trend, yeah, that's a very good question, in fact. Okay, so what's the current trend? I mean, it'll be like again confusing. Okay, when you say current trend, I mean, uh, it might deviate us. Okay, I would say to first understand what are your core what you call uh, likes and dislikes in what you want to do, and then like I mean get deeper into that. So a few of the pages which that I could suggest at the right time is like Medium is one of the blog that is really helpful,
Okay.
right? Understanding much of the things, right? And yeah, I mean, so this is how one has to go. But yes, frankly speaking, one has to understand what they want to do. Like it could be, I mean, it's about personal interest, so that
Right.
comes, and then get deeper into that. So that is how one can be understanding like what's happening in the new world.
Right.
Right.
In sense, it's vast enough that you can pick a
Right.
niche and
Right.
go deeper, right? Okay. Okay, great. So you mentioned in terms of picking up, let's say, whether it's alongside upgrading your Python and SQL, any new concepts in terms of the fundamentals or how things are getting adapted? Are you are there any other tips that you might have?
Uh, I mean, tips for, I mean, can you be more specific, bit more specific in like,
More a general advice in terms of if they are let's say if somebody is transitioning and they have been with IT for a while,
Mhm.
what would you say for trying to look at a niche area?
Okay. So it depends again. I mean, I would say like if they are good at bit of coding and understanding, yes, I mean, start with data engineering, I would say,
Okay,
right? Or if they are like, I mean, so that is where one can data engineering is again vast. I mean, that has its own field, right?
right,
Uh, where in which like you need to like uh, extract data. That's the first part, right? I mean, and again, one needs to be cloud agnostic as well. So when you say data engineering, one has to be cloud agnostic, understand what's happening. I mean, whether it could be AWS, GCP, or Azure. Like when pick all this, I mean, one has to understand how to migrate data from all these clouds. Enterprise companies, organizations, they will be using all these three clouds. I mean, let's
okay,
go, or at least two cloud environments they will be easily using, right? So this is how one needs to understand which programming language to again adapt. Python being de facto, yes, go with Python, right? So data engineering, this is how it understands.
okay,
And if one is interested into analytics, then they can stick with SQL, right? And then they can start their journey, either go with Power BI or Tableau or anything, fix up to one of those things, or one has to adapt for both of them,
Okay.
right? So both are equally important, and they can adapt for all those things. Or if one is really keen at uh, and has understood the data, and they can develop some good data models and everything, they should be even good at statistical knowledge as well. I mean, that's what
Right.
I said. So I mean, that's what I said. This is like really huge and vast. I mean, great new things are happening on a
Okay.
regular basis. I mean,
Yes.
I can't really comment on one thing, but yes, it depends on their interest, right? I mean, what are they good at?
Yeah. So I think, and you can always there's enough to play around with, right?
Enough to play around, right? Yeah, enough to play around.
Okay, so starting somewhere would help. Okay. As an alumni, how was your experience with, I think you partially answered that. Your mentor was Mr. Ashok Veda?
Yeah, Ashok, yeah.
Okay, all right. And this was because things have changed quite a lot in over the time. So what was that session like in the your fellow colleagues attending that course and
So, right. I mean, there were a lot of youngsters in that. I mean, it's a mix of the batches usually that we get are mix up of both youngsters as well as some experienced people. So that was the way. Like, I mean, we had to like juggle and understand the speed, the accuracy of and the mindsets of the youngsters as well, and work along with them. And it would be a good for the youngsters as well to understand and how the seniors usually, I mean, their thought process. I mean, with seniority we come up with a different thought process. We can understand, okay, where are the pitfalls. I mean, if we go in this direction, where are the pitfalls. So I think that is one of the good things that DataMites have done. They have coupled up, and they form teams where in which you have a mix of
different
youngsters as well as juniors, so both can understand and learn together. So, and there was a lot of, I mean, good amount of fight that happens between the thought process and the knowledge. So that was a good learning as well on
Okay.
how do we come up with the model. I can see, I mean, every time when I used to like work on that particular development and everything, okay, as a senior, I would say, okay, achieve around 70 to 80% of accuracy is better. But
Right.
I mean, at the same time, some would say that, okay, I have got 95% of accuracy. Okay, then there is something wrong. I mean, how can one get 95% of accuracy? Is the data, I mean, very well understood by the model, or the model is too weak and has understood the data? So let's play with this kind of a data, right?
Right.
So at that time when I was there, like, I mean, generating synthetic data was also a difficult thing. But now with all these libraries that have come, you can easily generate huge amount of synthetic data. So that is one thing that I would really appreciate. So learn. I mean, that is where your Python programming as well helps. You can generate huge amounts of data right now. I mean, synthetic data. So that is one of the projects that I have worked in my recent days as well.
Okay.
Data generation. So this is also one thing that people can use those libraries to generate piles of data. Tons and
Right.
tons of data can be generated.
Augmented. Yeah. Okay. Great. All right. So, one question from Nikhil Badasheshi from YouTube. How much of PySpark is used in data engineering, and what are the common ETL tools?
Very good question. PySpark is like, I would say it's very well used. Okay, so people who have come up from uh, see, I mean, it's very handy in use, right? I mean, so PySpark is like a very good tool to use. It will actually enable you to like parallelize your programming or analysis, whatever you want to do. It has been, I mean, I would say any sort of data, what you call logic building, right? I mean, happens on PySpark. So you get your data and you can run your that piece of data. You can it handles it using multiple cores of the system
Right.
or the compute engine that you have provisioned. So PySpark is like very well used in the market, right? At the same time, like, I mean, as I am coming from the Snowflake background, the similar kind of a thing is called as is available in Snowflake as well. So I mean, it's again, okay, if there is PySpark, there will be something there in Snowflake as well, right? I mean, where in which it will allow you to, like, I mean, they called it Snowpark. Okay, no, no, sorry, not Snowpark. So it's called, okay. So the way it allows is, like, I mean, you can, once the data is there in a data warehouse, you can play around with the data, enable the same parallel processing within the same data within the Snowflake environment as well.
Okay.
Right? So yes, and other tools, ETL tools that one can use is like uh, see, when it comes to like ETL or ELT has become the main
No, norm.
track of the current scenario. Like, I mean, and the way I see most of the enterprise people are going are like uh, they know how to, like, I mean, they don't want to like spend more and more time on engineering a particular thing. Recent things in the industry are like Fivetran is one thing that I have seen, which is really taken up the industry to a good level, right? I mean, so I would, it's again a paid tool. I wouldn't say it's a free of tool, but enterprise organizations usually prefer those kind of ELT tools, which can extract data from multiple platforms. Like you take, I mean, Salesforce, or you take any web or anything, it has what you call plugins where they can, like, simply extract data from all these tools, and they can put it in your data warehouse systems. So Fivetran is one of the good ELT tool, I would say. At the same time, I mean, Talend and other tools are also there. Like, I mean, but again, the way industry is going is like they want to have a specific tool which does specific work. So that is how things are like very much useful. Extraction of data and putting it into data warehouse. People are going with tools like Fivetran. You can find out other alternatives of Fivetran as well. So this is how, so it reduces your programming effort and everything, and it directly puts in your data. So specifically one tool doing one part of the work. Now coming into data quality, right? There are certain libraries called as Great Expectations. Again, this is a freeware tool. Okay, so which is again built on Python or whatever language they would have used. But again, you want to maintain data quality, go with Great Expectations. That is what I would suggest. There are, like, I mean, pretty good videos available on YouTube as well, where they are using it. I think Pepsi or some other organization have used data quality for their data quality measures, right? Uh, Again, like, no great coding. All you have to do is like uh, measure the data quality. Okay, specific tools for data quality. At the same time, there is some tool called DBT, data build tool. So this is one of the very frequent tool that I have used in for many of my the organizations that I have worked with. So that really enables you to like uh, it's a they use a small scripting language called as which is very much equivalent to SQL, right? So using which, like, I mean, one can easily what you call not just build a tool, like, I mean, it provides you again data quality as well as data testing as well. So whenever data is entering into your system, like, I mean, you can perform good amount of data quality measures using that tool. You can infer the data the way you want to do that. So try for DBT as well. So that is one more interesting tool. Yeah, these are the tools that I can measure on the ELT or the ETL side.
ETL side. Okay,
Right.
okay. All right, great. You have one more from Tanay, and he's asking about deployment from, say, an MLOps perspective. How much is a data scientist really involved with that side of things? If you are like, I mean, it's a different track, but what's the interaction with those who are doing MLOps?
Why are we considering MLOps and data scientists? I mean, these are right. I mean, so I think, I mean, the question itself is a bit mixed up of with multiple. I mean, as a data scientist, okay, even if you have worked on that thing, I mean, the deployment part will be like taken up by the MLOps people. I mean, that's what I can say as of now. Uh, I'm not really into MLOps, so I may not be the right person to even argue on that.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I think it's yeah, more generic in yeah. in away from our discussion. But yeah, I think anyway, I think you pretty much made that clear. So yeah, I think seems like we are. Yeah, that's about it. Reshma, if there is yeah, if there are any further queries for Srikanth. Okay, you are right in the thick of things, just to conclude, and you're seeing also a bit of the Gen AI getting adapted as, you know, in terms of the practice of what Snowflake is doing, right?
Right.
What do the next 5 years look like?
So the next 5 years, I mean, I read one article from the Snowflake CEO. He himself said, "I don't know." So what has happened so far is like, okay, they have kept all these tools within, like, I mean, as I said, right, you create a machine learning model, you deploy it in on a data warehouse, right? They have the models that are already available. They have kept it on data warehouses, right? Uh, Let there be analytics. They have kept it on the data warehouse platform. You ask for any language, let it be like Python, Java, Scala, famous languages. They have made sure that with all these languages you can program on a data warehouse, right?
Right.
Now everything is available. Zen AI, the tools have been deployed onto the data warehouses. So it's up to uh, the market to evaluate and use those tools right now and come up with like very beautiful solutions for dealing with uh, any problem at a very quick way,
Right.
right? I mean, at the same time, data migration, pushing data from multiple sources to again one source, that has also been, I mean, why do you want to like store data in multiple places in multiple times? Okay, so again, Apache Iceberg has again come in place here, right? I mean, you store the data on one platform and then use all these various tools. Let it be like, I mean, Snowflake or Databricks, or let it be Salesforce. Use the data on, put it on an Apache Iceberg platform, unified sources. I mean, so technology has all been placed right now. It's up to the engineers and analysts, data scientists, whatever we call. I mean, use it and come up with solutions.
Make the best of it.
Right, to make the best of it. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful, great.
Right.
Lovely talking to you, Srikanth. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for
Thank
all
you.
your thoughts and insights. And
Right.
yeah, it's yeah. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much
much.
for inviting, and all the best for all the youngsters. So there's a lot happening on the data side. So stay tuned to it. Right.
All
Right.
right. Bye bye.
Bye bye.